Chapter 52, Chapter 15. Victoria City is a city in the territory of Nigel Kingdom. This city is located on the outskirts of the kingdom of precisely beside the border between Nigel Kingdom, the Aryan Kingdom, and Aurelia Kingdom. Victoria is not a big city like Mawson or Dougal. It can be said to be a developing city. Victoria was originally a small town, but because the academia was built in that place, the entire city infrastructure was changed to support the safety and the comfort of living there. After Zeal and others traveled for a whole day, they finally arrived at their destination, the place where the Pengamenta Grand Academia is located. Although the city doesn't look as busy as Mawson City, the arrangement of every building there is neatly made so that it looks more organized and beautiful. Zeal and the others headed straight to the Academy building on their horse carriage. It is located right in the center of Victoria City. First, Zeal and Clara must register because today is the last day of enrollment, while the entrance exam will be held tomorrow. The horse carriage that Zeal and others were riding stopped, indicating that they have arrived at their destination. When they got out the carriage, Clara was first to make a sound. Wow! This is amazing. This academy looks so high and majestic. Clara screamed in admiration and looked at the academy buildings. Even though they are still in the front of the gate, it hadn't entered to see it in person, but they could see it spectacle even from outside. There stood 7 gigantic towers with different colors. The 7 towers surrounding building, shaped like a dome in the middle of the building. In the middle of the mixed color of 7 towers, Clara was thought for the first time will be amazed by her sparkling eyes. But it's different from Zeal, who doesn't care about such things at all. Meanwhile, Beatrix, who had seen it before, just smiled at Clara's reaction. The 7 towers are called the 7 Sky Guardian Towers, and the big building in the middle is called the Sky Dome. Beatrix started to explain about the building in front of them. Sky Guardian? Zeal heard that absurd name. Subconsciously asked, "Yes, that's right. Maybe the name of this tower sounds arrogant, but if you pay attention to it carefully, the 7 towers that were built circle around the dome like a building in the middle, as if holding up the sky for it." Beatrix pointed to the end of the tower. It's true. If you look closely, the 7 ends of the tower seem to be in direct contact with the sky, and it is as if the 7 towers are pillars that hold up the sky for the dome in the middle. They will be studying later. Is it in a building in the middle? Clara, who was admiring the splendor and the beauty of the tower, suddenly asked a question. She brought her face closer to Beatrix, looking very curious. "I told you. You have to pass the exam first before delusional like that." Beatrix smiled slightly at her and flicked Clara's forehead. Yes, I understand. So where will we study after we pass the exam?" Clara clutched her forehead in pain while puffering her cheeks at what Beatrix said. Rather than me explaining it one by one, Won't be better if I explain it all at once. Actually, without me explaining, you will know when you get accepted in the academy and get the student manual book. Beatrix started to explain while walking towards the register area in the Sky Dome. So we have to pass the test first to find out, huh? Clara mumbled softly while wiping her lips with her finger. She thought if it was okay to tell them even though they haven't been accepted in the academy. Beatrix ignored her and continued her explanation. That golden tower, Beatrix began to explain at length the function of each building. A summary of the explanation is as follows. Seven Sky Guardian. The Golden Tower, the tower which students learn swordsmanship. The Silver Tower, the tower where students learn magic. The Red Tower, the tower where students learn alchemy. And the Blue Tower, the tower where students learn blacksmithing, creating magic tools. The Green Tower, the tower where there's a library containing books of knowledge, especially magic, martial arts, alchemy, and weapon arts. The Black Tower, the tower where male students live, and the White Tower, the tower where female students live. Sky Dome, a large multi-purpose hall as a venue for certain events or duels. There's also a place for teachers and the principal's magic tools, various weapons, and potions produced from the Red and Blue Towers will be stored there. That's what Beatrix explained about the 7 towers and the Sky Dome. After hearing that, Clara nodded like a chicken eating its food. Soon they arrived in the front of the building door. On a close look, Zeal felt the building had powerful barrier magic that was even stronger than the Dark Legacy organization's hiding cave. Zeal also knew that there were barriers protecting the entire territory of this academy, but currently it seems to be deactivated. When they opened a large door and entered the building, were immediately greeted with a long line of people lining up. Looks like we're a little late. Beatrix sighed heavily at the queue in front of him. If they had arrived earlier, maybe the queue wouldn't have been as long as this time. Hundreds of people were currently lining up to apply for the admission of the academy. Be it royal, nobles, or merchant children, or commoners, they were blended there, and the hall felt crowded. How long do we have to wait with that much queue? Clara's face turned pale, and the thought of them having to queue with that many people. I don't know how long it will take, but since it's the last day of enroll, we can't help that but queue until it's our turn. Beatrix can only surrender and accept it, then their queue in the back row. Auntie, can't you just use your status so we can get registered without waiting in line? Clara smirked, looking at Beatrix expectantly. You already know that status can be used here, even though I'm a teacher in this academy. She shook her head at Clara's request. Then the queue started moving forward little by little. When they were focused on the queue in front of, suddenly a scream came from behind them. There, they could see a boy with his short golden hair and luxurious robe, about their age, stepping on another boy under his feet. I already told you, I am a noble. Why am I waiting in line with commoners like you? The golden-haired boy kicked the boy under his feet. Don't you know that your status is meaningless here, and you want to overtake my queue? Just because you're a noble child? The trembled boy shouted back at him. He gritted his teeth in pain from the golden-haired boy's early kick. You dare answer my words? The golden-haired boy took out a short magic wand from inside his robe. Then 4 magic circles appeared from his body, and he pointed his wand at the child laying on the floor. The people standing near them frantically dodged to avoid being hit by the attack. Fire bullets. The golden-haired boy shot fire bullets at the boy's head, but before the attack hit the boy, a thin barrier formed and protected him. Stop! Screams echoed throughout the hall, accompanied by the pressure that made it difficult for application to breathe. Who are you? How dare you bother me? Don't you know what I, Simon Vokila, son of Duke Voxkila of Aurea Kingdom? He screamed and looked around for someone that stopped him. Theo was waiting in silence till he looked at one corner of the hall. The space there is distorted, and appeared a middle-aged man with long black hair was neatly tied up. He was holding a long silver wand and decorated it with a 4-colored crystal. On it, he walked slowly and approached Simon. I don't care who you are, but when you're here, you have to obey the rules. Whatever you're noble or king. He stared intensely at Simon, who was kneeling due to pressure from him. Aren't you afraid of what you just said? Simon is still trying to stand up against the pressure, but the more he resists, the stronger the pressure. I'm the one who has full authority here. If you don't like it, please get out of here. The man then withdrew his pressure and walked away from the place. Simon's face turned pale after hearing what the middle-aged man said before he left. The person who had the highest authority in the academy is a principal who is chosen and recognized as directly by the 5 kings. A sage who had the same power as them. He was Merkling Novent, someone who was independent and not affiliated with any kingdom. Simon then stood up and cleaned his clothes and queued in a back row, even though he looked calm, but sweat continued to float previously from his forehead. The handmaster bothered to come himself to stop him? Beatrix muttered after seeing Merkling disappear from the place. He is the headmaster of the academy. Is he strong? Clara, who heard Beatrix murmuring next to her, asked curiously. Of course. He can be recognized by the 5 kings if he is weak. Beatrix nodded slowly and stroked Clara's head. After Merkling left, Zeal narrowed his eyes towards the farthest corner of the hall. He could see there was a woman with white-purple hair, standing in line. What is the fallen god doing here in this place? Zeal mumbled quietly without anyone hearing him.